Transformation in 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone. Welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. If you're a new gazer, welcome in. If you're a returning gazer, hi guys. I hope you're doing all right. We're going to take a deep breath and start today with the rune. Ancestors, spirits, guides. What messages do you have for us today? Ura's strength, the ox. It talks about that internal strength, right? It talks about a gentle strength that's also the letter U. Manhood, womanhood. The rune of terminations and new beginnings. Drawing it indicates that the life you have been living has outgrown its form, which must die so that life energy can be released into a new birth, a new form. Uraz is the rune of passage, and as such, part of the cycle of self-transformation. Positive growth and change, however, may involve passage into darkness as part of the cycle of perpetual renewal. As in nature, the progression consists of 5 parts: death, decay, fertilization, gestation, rebirth. Events occurring now may well prompt you to undergo a death within yourself. Since self-change is never coerced, we are always free to resist. Remain mindful that the new form, the new life, is always greater than the old. Prepare then for opportunity disguised as loss. It could involve the loss of someone or something to which there is an intense emotional bond, and through which you are living a part of your life. A part that must now be retrieved so that you can live it out for yourself. Now, in some way, that bond is being severed, a relationship radically changed, a death experienced. Seek among the ashes and discover a new perspective, a new birth. The original symbol for Uraz is a wild ox, the aurochs. When the wild ox was domesticated, a nearly impossible task. It could transport heavy loads. Learn to adapt yourself to the demands of this creative time. Firm principles attached to this rune. At the same time, humility is called for, since in order to rule, you must learn how to serve. This rune puts you on notice that your soul and the universe support your new growth. I'm going to read the reverse as well because I feel like it's extremely important right now. Because some of you, I feel like some of you are in the upright of this rune and some of you are experiencing this reversal. It says, without ears to hear and eyes to see, you may fail to take advantage of the moment. The negative result could well be an opportunity missed or a weakening of your position. It may seem that your own strength is being used against you. For some, this rune reversal will serve to alert, providing clues in the form of minor failures, disappointments. For others, those more deeply unconscious or unaware, it should provide a hard jolt. Reversed, it calls for some serious thoughts about the quality of your relationship to yourself. But take heart. Consider the constant cycling of death and rebirth, the endless going and returning. Everything we experience has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and is followed by a new beginning. Therefore, do not draw back from the passage into darkness. When in deep water, become a diver. And yes, like what this is talking about is having the strength to undergo that adaptation. The tumultuous times that we're in, we are in tumultuous times right now, but truth be told, in human existence, that's par for the course. And also in existence on the planet Earth, right? It's the natural cycles of things, and they're put in place for us to mature, for us to grow. And it feels like there are these separations here. Maybe it's from an old mindset. Maybe it's from an old activity. Maybe it's from a relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic, right? It could be familial. It could be friendships. It could be acquaintances or people that you keep around you to carry out your daily tasks or the activities that you're doing, right? Say you enjoy going to the gym and you have friends at the gym. This is just an example that popped up in my mind. And you have people around you in that space, but you have come across a new way to keep fit or keep healthy. You know, maybe you're feeling confined within the building and the things available to you, so you decided to take up something a little gentler on your body, a little bit more natural. Maybe you're exploring yoga, maybe you're exploring martial arts, maybe you're exploring dance, right? There's going to be a new community of people, a new mindset that comes along with that transition. And so right now, living out a part of the self that is you in that gym atmosphere is evolving and changing into the you that is living out your life in a more like creative, personalized exercise routine. Like, and again, take that how it resonates, or as a metaphor, but it could be real. You know, it came from somewhere in my mind. I do not go to the gym. I don't like them, right? I feel like there's a lot of people and a lot of sweat and a lot of yuck around, and I can get my exercise doing other things. That's just me personally, right? And I think that it also applies to like anything, right? Some people have a different perspective or a different association with things than we do, and maybe our mindset is changing, and it's like being open to the possibilities, right? And having the strength. When in deep water, become a diver, and that's talking about that emotional self, right? That really, where are you going? What is this cycle opening you up to now? All right, ancestors, spirits, guides, what would you like to tell us? Look at that. And we get the Fool right out the gate, the starting, the new point, and the Knight of Swords in the reverse. Almost like not, we're not sending the message. Two of Pentacles. These are great cards. Five of Swords coming up in the upright. I feel like you're walking away from what was old and into like a new form where you're competing more with yourself here. Because yes, right under that Knight of Swords comes out the Knight of Pentacles in the upright. Not overthinking this. And then ooh, Two of Pentacles comes through to the Devil. I was only going to get 6 cards, but we're going to go ahead and get a few more, because it feels like just this balancing act that's being done here, even in the conversion from one section to another, one place to another. Yeah, Chariot in the reverse on the bottom. We're going to keep going. We're going to get a few more cards. Even those spaces, right? It's that in and of itself can become the addiction, like what you're reliant on, the bind that is not good for you. You know, it's really, really possible to feel stuck in that obligatory space, like I have to get this done. Look, Two of Cups coming out, Two of Wands, and now the High Priestess. Guys, we have 4 2s out on the board, and the bottom row is all 2s. And I feel like, again, like there has to be this following of your intuitive knowing. Okay, starting off and taking that leap of faith, maybe starting something new, a new kind of competitive atmosphere. Maybe you are competing with yourself. It's like this idea of like winning and coming out on the other side in some sort of partnership or in some kind of soul bond with another. And again, it doesn't have to be romantic. Take it how it resonates. But there is like a celebration of the win. Right? There is a celebration of the win with someone else, with another. And it feels like there's, you know, this becoming at a crossroads between like maybe the negative vibe, maybe the negative messaging, maybe the inability to communicate, right? Or people not taking the words that you're saying clearly or seriously, and coming to a point where you've been working really, really hard. You're starting something in a new, slow and steady pace, very meticulous, working it out, learning as much as you can about this, and it really putting you at a crossroads and having to decide which way to go. And in that process, you wind up having to balance a lot of things to keep that juggling. And what's interesting is she's cooking. Can you guys hear her? She's cooking. She's making something, and the next thing that comes out is a dessert, right? But the dessert, that sweetness, it's like saccharine, right? Saccharine means for something to be like falsely sweet, or so, you know, when somebody is like so kind that and like nice, and you're like, that can't be real, right? It's that overly indulgent feeling of something that looks, masks itself as good for you, but then it turns out that it really isn't. And there's this idea of maybe like not following your intuition about that, being at a crossroads of which way to go. Maybe you see this thing and you know that it's not good for you, or you know that it's not, that it's going to bind you in ways that aren't healthy for you. Keeping your ears and eyes open and allowing those things to change, that death within you, is that letting go of the self that desired that, letting go of the self that wanted those things, letting go of the self that can be entrapped by those things, so that the self that doesn't desire those things, the thing that the self that is resistant to them, the self that desires other things, right? The new is, there's room for that. And on the bottom, look, 7 of chalices, because there's so many options available to you. Everything is really opening up, and it can be very confusing. And again, that's why you have to look to that internal strength and knowing, right? Consult yourself here so that you can retrieve that part of yourself that has been given away to these places, spaces, times, right? And really, you know, again, there's this feeling of maybe something that was kept inside of you that's secret, right? I heard the secrets in the sauce, right? That thing that keeps you going, and the thing that held you back, and maybe those things coming out, those things coming to light. Maybe it's really exposing how toxic the binding situation is. It could be a contract, could be, again, it's just it's the devil energy is anything that is not good for you. Before I pull some of these out, we have the Fool, which is Aries and Aquarius. We have the High Priestess, which is Pisces, and we have the Devil, which is Capricorn. Take it how it resonates. It could be in their sun, moon, and rising. Could be that time of year, right? But unless you know someone's full chart, take all of the signs as an archetype, right? As a personality, as a way of expressing. So it feels like there is this very restrictive energy, and you're feeling you know, like you the options are available to you. How do you express those things? How do you get through it, right? Which way do you go? And again, there's like this idea of partnership and 2 novice people, not necessarily completely novice, but you know, the Knights are movement, they're action, they're like teenager, young adult energy, very hubris, right? Has a lot of hubris, very excited to be doing the thing, but doesn't have a lot of know-how and how to stabilize it, or how to carry it through, or maybe even where they're going. Yeah, it's earth sign and air sign energy. So what do we need to look out for? Who is helpful and who is not? What do we need to embody as spirit? We have the archetypes. Speaking of the archetypes, look at God. Spirit has your back, I'll tell you that. And again, demanding that you do indeed grow. Light attributes, benevolence and compassion, recognizing the internal force within yourself and others. Recognizing that internal force within yourself and others. Shadow attribute, despotism and cruelty, using power to control people. So here you got the God energy, and you got the devil energy. Light and shadow, right? Good and evil. This is what I'm hearing, and all of that, and to some degree, might seem subjective, and yet it's not, right? The benevolence of allowing yourself to move through the spaces of yourself for the benefit of your growth, right? And then the devil energy, that using force to control others, right? Despotism and cruelty. There's a lot of that going on, and oftentimes it will disguise itself as something good for us, something sweet. Oh, you're gonna like this. Oh, you're gonna enjoy this. No, you're not. Not when you go home and you have a bellyache. Not when you go home and your sugar is way out of whack, right? There's this idea of what are you making, what are you building to feed yourself and others. And look at how similar these cards are. It looks like he's maybe stirring a pot, the colors. And look at this. This talks about creation. These images are talking about creation and balancing that, the perfect mixture, right? What is needed and what isn't. What are you adding that is good for you? What are you adding that is, you know, to help you recognize the goodness in yourself and help lift the goodness in others, and whatever that aspect might be, right? And being careful of those who would use that power, abuse their power to control others, right? I'm gonna find out what is. Can we have another one, please? Got 2 here. Saboteur. Saboteur and healer. Wow. Saboteur highlights your fear of self-empowerment and the changes it would bring into your life. Making the effort, and again, the devil choosing the devil because you can predict it and you know what's going on, but that in a way is self-sabotage because you're setting yourself up for this foreseeable failures. Right. Shadow attribute induces self-destructive behavior or the desire to undermine others. And again, that double energy coming through here in this level of competition, and what are people saying and what is going on in the background, right? Somebody could be talking crap or leading people, again, using information to sabotage something here. And you recognizing how much your contribution is in that by compliance to it. Healer. Passion to serve others by repairing the body, mind, and spirit. Ability to help transform pain into healing. Like this way, like on her head. Oh, right? Because that goes back to the Hermetic principle of mentalism, which is the base principle. Everything starts in how we perceive things, and there could be like a negative perception. Knight of Swords in the reverse, somebody could be building a negative perception so that that's integrated into the foundation of the thing. That's sabotage. That's devil energy, right? The taking on that, having a passion to, right? Being invigorated and inspired by healing yourself and others. Again, that's getting out of that one space and getting into another. Go back to Uras here, right? The self, that internal self, letting that go, letting that fertilize the ground for the new. And we'll go back to the gym analogy too, right? Like that creative expression, that healing, right? Because while doing certain workout routines will effectively put our physical self back into space, what are they doing for our emotional self? Are they helping our emotional self? That having too much of anything can be toxic. And so that's like exploring new avenues of doing things that are healthy for you and healing you, your mind, body, and spirit, right? Dancing, yoga, tai chi, martial arts, those kinds of things are just examples. I'm sure you can think of 1,000 other ones too. Share them with us in the comments if you want. That healing energy, to finding that benevolence in things, and knowing that devil energy is also doing it out of fear and lack consciousness, a lack mentality, right? That also needs healing. Like a king. Wow. Enlightened benevolent leadership benefiting those in your charge. And again, taking that lead role, right? Even if it's just the leadership role of yourself. Where are you leading you to? You're at this crossroads. There's a lot of options available to you. It could be very confusing, right? Taking that leadership upon yourself. And also, if you're going to follow a leader, making sure that they are good in spirit, that their heart is in the right place, right? Which is difficult for, I have a thing about, if anybody wants to rule that many people, they got a power trip issue of some kind, right? They got a control issue of some kind. Yes, we need people in those places, but it's in those positions, right? But it's extremely rare for a person in a position like that to be completely pure of heart, pure of spirit, pure of intent. And so we have to take those leadership roles within ourselves and in our lives, whether that be in your job environment, whether that be in your home environment, whether that be within yourself, right? Because the shadow attribute is excessive feelings of entitlement, rulership without restraint. All of this keeps coming back to this devil energy. The abuse of power, the control, the binding, the fear, right? That those are all coming up, and that's part of what we're detaching ourselves from, or what a spirit is showing us today, that we can detach ourselves from, and that we can venture off and build the new, that the options are available to us. You know, the universe is supporting our growth here. Of course it is. Yeah, God out here. You know, and that's what namaste is, right? The divinity within me, the light within me, also within you, the light within spirit within us, the divine, right? And we all have that within us. We all have that light of spirit. That's our life. That's our life force. Our spirit is part of spirit, right? That's it. And so the intentions of our spirit and the intentions of spirit, and it's a polarity, and that's what keeps the balance. And you get to decide which side you want your intentions to be on, how you want to rule yourself, and what you will and will not tolerate in things in your life that might be pulling you in different directions. Ooh, lots to do today, guys. Lots to do today. We're gonna get some tea leaf oracles. Oh, I also want to remind you guys that it's street fair this week in Wyandotte. So on the 9th, 10th, and 11th, which is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I will be at Glowfish from 2 to 6 p.m. doing readings. But there's a lot going on. It's our biggest festival all year in town, and there's always cool things happening. So please come down and join us and pop in and see me. Come into Glowfish and see what cool stuff they've got. All right, enough of the commercial. It says, famous tea quotes, drink your tea slowly and reverently, as if it is the axis on which the world earth revolves, slowly, evenly, without rushing towards your future. That's Shnanhan. Move that up just a little bit more. And again, that Knight of Pentacles energy. Slow and steady. Right? And watching, like, as if it's the most important thing. And as I said, I say 2112 on the clock. Very reflective. Is that what it is? Look at, but indeed I would rather have nothing but tea. Jane Austen. Wouldn't it be nice if we just only had the good? The good? Would we be able to tell that it was so good if we didn't have a counterbalance to be able to emphasize the extremities? If everything was neutralized and in the center, it would all get washed out, wouldn't it? Neutralization is like the non-existent. It's the center point. So while it's good to be around the center point and not necessarily off in the extremities all the time, it is necessary for there to be counterbalance. That's polarity. Again, we keep getting back to these hermetic principles in this system, right? In this thing, in the good and the bad, and the light and the dark, and it really feels like, you know, this time of examination of what is healthy for us and what isn't, and which way we're going to go with that, and who we're going to allow to lead us where we're going to lead ourselves, right? Ooh, symbols beginning with the letter B. It says broom, changes in life. It could signify a new home, and home is where your heart is. So if your heart is feeling differently and your heart is seeking a new place, then your spirit is seeking a new home. That can be your environment. That can be the place in which you occupy. But again, I think that in this case, it's definitely a mind and spirit space. Yes. Mind and spirit, getting them in alignment with each other is really going to relieve a lot of that emotional tension. It's going to really balance things out emotionally, and in effect, you're going to notice an increase in your physical health and energy levels. Yes, bull. Wow, we got the bull, and we have the wild ox here. So Taurus energy coming through, stubborn energy coming through. And again, that strength, right? It means slander by enemies. This symbol is a warning. But we already discussed that, didn't we? That sabotage, this Knight of Swords in the reverse energy with the Five of Swords coming out. Yeah, someone's talking trash. Someone's trying to lead the work astray, the other people, your mind, your body, whatever it is. There's somebody who is saying things that are untrue. And it's a saboteur, a mechanism for that. Lean on the healer within you. Lean on the strength of this, right? Butterfly, this is an ancient symbol for the soul. It signifies pleasure, happiness, and is considered a lucky symbol. Again, what are you aligning yourselves to? Because luck is on your side. Wow. Symbols beginning with the letter C on the bottom. It says candle, enlightenment. There is enough light for you to see the way, even if the situation is difficult. Car, approaching wealth. Right? And again, travel, like that movement available, going from one place to another, whether that be in the physical realm or just in the mental, spiritual realm. You are evolving into a new place, into a new setting of self, right? Castle, an inheritance, probably unexpected. You could be actually inheriting something physical and unexpected. You don't expect this. What I think even more is the amount of things that you are bringing into your world, your realm, yourself, by allowing yourself to be open to them, and knowing, being differentiating, discerning what is good for you and what isn't, what has benefit, positive, pure intent. Not just, oh, that benefits me, because that could be double energy too. Like, is it healthy in the long term? Is it freeing in the long term? These are feelings that your body is going to tell you. Cat, this is a symbol of good luck, especially if found close to an arch. If it's next to a letter or a person, it signifies secrecy and independence. And again, the secrets coming out was spoken here with the High Priestess in the reverse. It could be this energy coming through, this negative energy coming through to try to find out those secrets or that information, like what the secret recipe is. We know that the Colonel's chicken has these 11 herbs and spices, but it's a highly guarded secret what those are. And it's that kind of idea, like they know that like energy knows that there's something hidden, but they don't know the recipe. And again, the secret's in the sauce. You could actually be making some sauce, right? But most important part is that at the end of that, you get a butterfly and a cat, which both tell you that those are good luck symbols. And again, the universe has your back. And here's the train. All right, we're going to close this up today with an earth energy. Stillness. Oof. And on the bottom, veiled. There's things being hidden, things not seen. And if what is it? You can't see your reflection in boiling water. That stillness has to come through in order for that reflection to show through, in order for us to see through it clearly, what's on the bottom, what's underneath. And again, I'm going to, when in deep water, become a diver. The stillness of this lake. Where did it go? Oh, I'm looking for stillness, and I should be looking for lake. That's where we're at. See? It's that kind of a thing. That there's something to that. Ooh, the subdued pastels of early morning light quietly announce that the night is over and the sun is rising. The lake itself hasn't awakened from its rest and remains still and undisturbed. It welcomes the coming day, ready to respond with grace and fluidity, whatever currents and movements appear in its belly or upon its skin. The surrounding vegetation thrives from the abundant water near the shoreline, and the unoccupied boat lies in wait for its next passage. All is at rest in this scene. Whew. It's in the deep, internal stillness that we find our being and come to know that we are intimately united with all of creation. To achieve this mindset, we must slow down once in a while and get away from the surroundings that interfere with and distract us from our inner tranquility. When we do so, this profound stillness is available at all times, regardless of the environment. We can experience this sensation with steady conscious breathing, or we can simply pause for a few moments and be still. The tempo of life these days has sped up considerably, and there seems to be no end to this quickening pace. Immersed as we are in the technological whirlpool, there seems no escape. However, there is no need, there is no need to be a prisoner to the hurry up syndrome. Nor is there a need to feel trapped by the awareness of the collective intensities that massive numbers of humans are experiencing these days. No matter if the noise is in your environment or in your seemingly nonstop thinking, it is critical for you to seek stillness. Find it in your world, whether it's in a special place in your home or a place in nature that is far from human-made noise. Of particular importance is finding it inside yourself, which can be made easier by being in a quiet place or natural setting. Doing so not only relaxes your mind, but also heightens your awareness and your senses. Wow, heightening your awareness and your senses, right? Without ears to hear and eyes to see, you may fail to take advantage of the moment. Open those things up. Open yourself up. It's like all will be revealed. I hope that was helpful. I hope that you got something out of it. Thank you so much for being here. Again, thank you for remembering to hit like and subscribe, because I really do appreciate it. It really does help. And if you get a chance, stop in to the street fair this week and come down and see me. All right? Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for coming back and visiting us again next time. Bye.
Transformation in 3, 2, 1.